What's happening, YouTube? I just wanted to make this video and say thank you to everyone who watched my Why There Will Never Be Another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Rules anime video, and to everyone who subscribed, thank you guys so much. It's really cool that this channel was able to hit 100 subscribers, largely in part due to that video, and I just want to thank all of you guys for being a part of this and joining my community. I also really appreciate all the comments. Thank you to everyone who appreciated the work that I put in. It did take about 2 to 2.5 months to go through all the duels in the series, count the number of cards being played, make sure I didn't double count cards, making sure I didn't miss any cards. Arc V and Vrains especially were really tough because Arc V obviously has the action cards, and then Vrains has just, if you saw the video, you know, a sheer amount of cards played in Vrains is enormous. And, you know, all the comments that you guys left, all the support, all the feedback, super cool. Thank you so much. So that's why I wanted to make this video today. I wanted to not just say thank you to everyone who watched and subscribed, but also talk a little bit more about why I started this channel, my history with Yu-Gi-Oh, and what I hope that this channel can become. So I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in like 2001, 2002. It was right around the release of Legend of Blue Eyes and Metal Raiders. My first few packs were Legend of Blue Eyes packs, so that's how I know that it was around that time. And I do remember pulling cards like Kumutoko, Hard Armor, Turtle Tiger. I think my first rare was Two-Pronged Attack. That was the first rare card that I got in my first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Thought it was horrible at the time, didn't understand how it worked. And then I remember that summer too, my aunt got me a lot of packs of Metal Raiders. The first super that I pulled was a Suijin, I believe. And then I think I also got a Song of Thunder as well. My first Ultra was a Solemn Judgment from Metal Raiders, and I remember it because I remember reading that card and thinking, this card sucks. This is hot doo-doo. I didn't understand at the time. I didn't know better. I wasn't really involved with the online Yu-Gi-Oh community. I think I was in 3rd grade, or yeah, I'm pretty sure I was in 3rd grade, so I didn't get it. I don't know what happened to that card, I'm gonna be honest. I think I traded it. Someone probably scammed me out of it. But the way that I found out about Yu-Gi-Oh was actually from a friend at school. He had been watching the show, he'd been collecting cards, and he introduced me to the game. I hadn't seen the show yet, and I thought the game was cool. You know, I liked Pokemon cards, so I was willing to give it a shot. I didn't quite understand it though. It wasn't until I started watching the anime, I started watching Duelist Kingdom, that I really started to understand how the game worked and how it was played. And the original anime is really what sucked me in. It's not to say that Duelist Kingdom is a great way to learn how the card game works. Obviously, there's a lot of wacky stuff going on in Duelist Kingdom, but just seeing the monsters summoned and moving and attacking, and the spell and trap card effects go off, the effects chaining together, the different strategies, was really the thing that made me fall in love with the card game and made me want to play the card game and try and reenact scenes and be someone that might be a duelist in the anime. As I got older, I kept up with the 4Kids dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. I remember watching Virtual World Arc, Battle City, Orichalco's Arc on Cartoon Network. I didn't see the Kaibakor Grand Prix or the Pharaoh's Memories arcs because, I don't know, I don't think they aired on Cartoon Network, or at least I didn't catch them on there. I wasn't watching Kids WB at the time. I did go back and watch them later, and I did also watch the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX on Cartoon Network dubbed. And then I sort of started getting the online Yu-Gi-Oh community and started watching GX subbed online as well. I don't know if anybody else who's a millennial can sympathize with me. I've seen a lot of Yu-Gi tubers talk about how Yu-Gi-Oh was cool when they were growing up, that they played Yu-Gi-Oh at their away camps, that they played Yu-Gi-Oh at school. I've seen videos of people talking about playing Yu-Gi-Oh in high school. But for me, where I went to school, Yu-Gi-Oh was not cool. Yu-Gi-Oh was not something that you wanted people to know that you played, that you collected the cards, that you were involved with it in any way, shape, or form. I remember in 4th grade, I had just moved schools, and in the first few days of class, we had to, you know, fill out a form, kind of an about me thing. And at the end of the school year, we had them passed back. And one of the kids that was passing them back saw that I wrote on mine that I liked Yu-Gi-Oh cards and kind of tried to like out me to the class. It's like, oh my God, he likes Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's so cringe. Well, he didn't say cringe. Nobody said cringe back then. I think it was dorky, nerdy, you know. And I kind of played it off like, oh, someone must have changed it, because I was nervous to write that, you know, on my form. So I had erased it and rewrote it. And I kind of played it off like somebody was playing a joke on me. But if people found out that you liked Yu-Gi-Oh, it would be like the end of your social life. And I was already bullied a lot. I was a nerdy kid. I didn't want to add more fuel to the fire. So I hid my fandom. I hid my love for Yu-Gi-Oh. When I was at home by myself in my free time, a lot of time was spent making custom cards that I would print blank cards out online, fill them in with my own art, fill them in with my own effects, make my own custom archetypes. And I would also make my own decks from the few cards that I had, but I didn't have anybody to play with, so a lot of times I was just playing against myself. And anybody who's done that before knows that it is not a good time. You know everything in your opponent's hand, you know everything that they're playing. It's not very exciting. I did have some cousins who were into Yu-Gi-Oh, but they kind of were broken into two groups. Either they weren't as into it as I was, or they were as into it as I was, but they were kind of sore losers and gloating winners, and those aren't the most fun people to play Yu-Gi-Oh with, let me tell you, especially if you're just playing for fun. I didn't have a lot of money for cards. My parents didn't really buy me a whole lot of cards either. I think they thought that I was like too old for it at that point. I couldn't afford a dual disc toy when it came out. I was so jealous of all my cousins because they all got one, and my parents, I think, again, thought that I was too old for it, didn't want to buy me one. I did luckily have a Nintendo DS, and I was able to play the World Championship Series games. So I was able to go up against the AI and actually gain more experience in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But I couldn't get my DS hooked up to the internet, so I actually wasn't able to play people online for the World Championship Series. Eventually in high school, I did stumble across a computer program called Beyond, and I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On a Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator that someone had created on Beyond. I remember joining a server for like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator that I had a lot of fun playing on. It was kind of like my first exposure to meta Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there were people on there that would play meta decks. It was Teledad era, but maybe other people can relate to this. I feel like they can from maybe the comment section on my Why There Will Never Be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Rules anime video. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Community is not always very inviting. It's not always full of the nicest people. I know that there's a lot of like nerd fandom stuff out there that doesn't have the best communities, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself sometimes feels like it has a uniquely difficult community to deal with. After that game died, the one that I was really playing on, where I dealt with a lot of nasty people, I joined a few years later, maybe not a few years later, maybe it was about a year later or so. I think it was towards the end of high school. Joined a different server, and I remember playing one day against somebody who was playing like a turbo Red Nova Dragon deck. They were just trying to get Red Nova Dragon out one turn, fast as possible. It was never a meta deck, but for back in the day, a 6k attack monster who you couldn't beat over in battle and had effect, destruction, protection was pretty powerful. It was hard to out. And I remember taking it out with a combo where I used Vulcan the Divine, one of my favorite synchro monsters. And the community was so toxic that people were angry with me that I played these stupid cards that no one would ever play, that were considered bad, and beat this person's deck. I guess they were kind of a mainstay in that community. I tried to stand up for myself and defend myself, and I actually got flamed and I got booted from the server for it, which was a regular occurrence in these games where if people didn't like what you had to say or disagreed with your opinion or just got angry or upset with you for the littlest thing, they would just boot you. You know, you'd have to relog back in. Maybe you'd get a temporary ban. Not the most friendly community out there. So eventually I got tired of both of these games and I left. I did keep up with the Zexal anime that was running at the time, but not by watching it. I would just read the summaries on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikipedia. And I will admit that I dropped off for a bit when Arc V dropped. Pendulums just did not sit well with me. I went back to that online Beyond game for like a day or two when Arc V started and Cleaforts had dropped. And I remember dueling against Cleaforts, and it was so frustrating. It was one of the first times that I ever, in the history of playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, could not keep up with what was happening and what the effects on the cards were, it felt so overwhelming, and I just felt frustrated, and I was done with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I dropped off for a couple years at that point. I did end up coming back in the middle of Vrain's airing and started playing again, and I've basically been engaged with Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever since then. And I bring up these experiences to you guys so that you can understand what this game means to me. I love this card game. I love the anime. I love everything about Yu-Gi-Oh! Just as a franchise, it means a lot to me. Through all the tough times and the hard climbs,
Tough times, hard climbs, we'll take 'em on together. Right now, let's go! Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Generation X.
but seriously, even throughout the toughest of times, I have always loved this series. Even when people flamed me, told me my decks were dumb, even though it would have made me a target at school if people found out that I made custom cards, that I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I did not give up on this game. I didn't stop playing the way that I liked to play, the way that I thought was fun. And that's a big part of why I made this channel. There's a lot of channels out there focused on the meta Yu-Gi-Oh, Master Duel, the card market, just the very elite side of Yu-Gi-Oh. But something that I see people in this community complain about all the time, both on Reddit and even in my last video, is that there's not really anywhere for us casual Yu-Gi-Oh players to go. People who love the anime, people who want to play the card game for fun, not for competing, people who loves the aesthetics of the cards and the dual discs and the characters, people who enjoy making casual custom cards. Where are we supposed to go to enjoy this game? This channel is meant to be a place for me to express my love for Yu-Gi-Oh! First and foremost. It's, a place where I can kind of repair my childhood by doing full box openings when I could barely afford a pack as a kid. A place where I can build dual discs where I could never afford a dual disc for myself. A place where I can just kind of casually give the middle finger to the meta by trying to play the game better than people, and not by playing my favorite cards and not just by playing the best cards. It's a place where I can show off some of the fun custom cards that I've put work into. I haven't done any of that yet, but I am going to get to that soon. And it's a place where I can talk about my thoughts on the anime and share my opinions about it, which is something I was never able to do growing up as a kid. And I'm hoping that through sharing all of this, I can bring people together who enjoy all of these things as well. That's really the ultimate goal of this channel. I want people to be able to come here and share their thoughts, their opinions, their feelings, even if they disagree with me. Because as a kid, I didn't really have people to engage with this hobby with. I didn't have friends that I could talk about Yu-Gi-Oh with and engage with about Yu-Gi-Oh. I maybe had some friends online from those servers, but it wasn't, again, the nicest community. So I want this place to be a little bit nicer. It's okay for heated debates to happen, heated conversations, heated opinions, as long as it's all in good fun and as long as it doesn't go too far or go into the territory of being a jerk to people. So I just really want this place to be somewhere fun for us casual Yu-Gi-Oh players. My last video was so much fun because of the input from all of you, my newly growing community. For some of my older videos, sometimes it was frustrating when I would get 10 views or 1 comment. It was still fun for me to be able to put this stuff out there because I love engaging with Yu-Gi-Oh content and making Yu-Gi-Oh content so much, but it's definitely a lot more fun when people come along for the ride. And it makes it a lot more fulfilling too. So what's next for this channel? I'm actually about to put out a video talking about the exact moment that Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds went downhill. And that's actually going to be a series because 5Ds was my favorite anime series, maybe tied with the original DM. But I think there's a point in 5Ds where it just really ran off a cliff and dropped the ball in a lot of different ways. So keep your eyes out for that. That's going to be coming out tomorrow. And I'm also working on a few other videos. I want to show you guys a video of the new dual disc that I'm making. I don't know if you can see in the back there, I've got some stuff printed for the costume itself, and I've been putting work in on the dual disc for the past few months. That one might take a little bit longer than I think. I'm trying to get moving on it because the convention for it that I need this costume ready for is in January. So hopefully I'll have something to show you guys on that soon. If not, just maybe like a sneak little preview of what it's going to look like. And I also plan on making a few videos showing off some of the custom cards I've made. I've had custom cards made that I ordered from a company that does custom cards. They're beautiful in my opinion. The art's good, the effects not so much. The effects need some work. This is back in the day where I was really afraid of making cards that were too powerful as custom, so I dialed them back a lot, and I think I dialed them back too much. But I do enjoy making custom cards with custom art, so I want to show some of that off to you guys as well. And because it seems like there's a lot of anime fans tuning in, I'm also working on a series talking about how you can make a deck as if you were a character in the anime. I want to showcase what a character's dual disc and costume would look like, and then, you know, kind of talk about what series they would fit best in, and showcase what kind of cards would work in that deck to really fit a theme where you're trying to be flashy and not so much play in a competitive sense or play for keeps. So, you know, I just want to show people out there who have kind of lost faith in the card game because of where it's gone, that you can still come back and enjoy the game in the anime style and still have really cool, fun, exciting duels, play the game like you're an anime character and not play the game like you're a sweaty tryhard at your locals. And I'd be really interested to hear from you guys what you think, you know, if the eras that I'm placing these decks in are accurate, or if you think there's another series that they'd work better in. And honestly, if you guys want to take those deck lists and try them out for yourself, please, by all means, because that means that then there's going to be more Yu-Gi-Oh players out there that are playing the game just like me, and that would really make me happy. The most fun I think that I have with Yu-Gi-Oh is when I'm having a really intense back and forth duel where I'm counting on a Heart of the Cards top deck to pull something off, do something big. When my heart's racing, I'm at my I'm, you know, pushed to the ropes at the limit. Even if my opponent ends up winning, that's the kind of stuff that really just brings me so much joy with this game and makes me continue having fun with it and want me to continue engaging with Yu-Gi-Oh over and over again. So I hope you all will kind of come along with me on this journey with this channel. I hope you all keep participating, commenting, giving me feedback, letting me know your thoughts, and I hope this can be a place for us casual Yu-Gi-Oh fans to come and have a good time. So thank you all again for watching, subscribing, and participating. It means so much to me, and I can't wait to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.